What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Sea Radio. Mr. Money Mike Madness, the man, the myth, the legend, he's here tonight. What's going on, Mike? Fenway Fanatic, how are you? Whitebeard Signs, ladies and gentlemen, when I turn my camera on, the sign to my, I guess this would be your right, that was made by Whitebeard Signs. If you guys are looking for something custom made, Whitebeard Designs the place to go. Had to throw the plug in there for our friend on this channel. Anthony, how you doing? Mr. Mad, always a pleasure. CP, what's up? Jack, how you doing? Dewone, I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. From South Carolina, beautiful state. Thank you so much for hopping in here tonight. Eat Ski, what's going on, my friend? Tommy D, I like that you put the nickname in there. I know what to call you. Dallas Sound Guys, always here, always smiling. How you doing, man? Brent from Cali, how are you? Paul, what's going on? This is the sign I'm talking about right here. This was made by Whitebeard Designs on Instagram. That's the best place to find them. You guys want something like this? And he does anything. So if you want anything on your room, in your room, man cave, garage, daughter, son, your bedroom, I don't know what you do in there. You know what I mean? Whitebeard Designs on Instagram. Let me ask you a question. Actually, you know what? We'll save it for a second. There are a couple things I want to go over in today's live stream. This is what I call the void. This is what I call the baseball void. There is quite literally nothing going on. Well, I mean, okay, let me specifically. Does he do Nightbot signs? It's very funny that the Nightbot popped in right below that. Let me say this specifically. The Red Sox are not doing anything, right? We just Carlos Estevez, who I really thought was going to be the Red Sox pickup this offseason in terms of the bullpen, or like their last pickup. Yeah, he just signed with the Cincinnati Royals, so he will not be coming here. What's up, Dennis? Actually, honestly, today was kind of a bigger baseball news day, huh? Taylor Rogers was traded. Ha-Seong Kim was traded. Watching from work. My favorite thing to do is watch streams from work. I watched so many like different live streams of work. They're so because it's like you're having a conversation, but you don't have to pay attention a ton. Dennis, I appreciate that. There are a lot of very knowledgeable Red Sox podcasts out there. I could think of at least 3 or 4 off the top of my head, but I really appreciate you sticking around here, man. Thank you. Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Ha-Seong Kim signed with the Rays. Taylor Rogers signed with the Giants. Tommy Kahnle, another name who I kind of thought the Red Sox would be interested in. He went to the Tigers. Carlos Estevez went to the Royals. And the Red Sox, well, brother, they ain't picking up nothing. They ain't picking up nothing. Here's my question to you, chat. And I'm actually going to put this poll out. Because I'm curious. I'm very curious. So the Red Sox have about $30-ish million before the first luxury tax. My question to you is, if that $30 million goes to Randall Grichuk and Nick Pivetta, and they're over the first luxury tax, are we allowed to still call them cheap? That's the question. So if they get over that first luxury tax, let's say they get Grichuk, Pivetta, and they extend Crochet. Is that, because obviously the Crochet extension will put them over it as well. Would you consider or still consider them cheap? Oh yeah, Pavetta's still out there. Now people are saying he's coming back. People are starting to say Nick Pivetta coming back. That's our video tomorrow. You believe they'll not extend Garrett? To be honest with you, the Red Sox out of everything they have not spent money on, have spent money recently on extensions. Right? They gave Devers money. They gave Bayo money. They gave Cedon money. They gave Whitlock money. They tried with Houck. They tried with Casas. Right? I actually, if anything, that's like the one area that I would sit there and I would say I'm confident the Red Sox will be able to put money into their own people. That's like the only thing I'm confident saying they're going to give money for, right? Because it's the only thing they have a track record of, Kevin. Right? If you were to say if Garrett Crochet was a free agent, then I'd be like, yeah, they're probably not going to give him money, right? They don't give anybody money. But 2 extensions last year. You got Whitlock in there. You got Devers in there. I think I think it's more likely Crochet's extended than the Red Sox sign anybody else in free agency. Yeah, so that's sort of the line of thinking with Pivetta is they would sign him back to be a bullpen arm. I'm sure Pivetta would absolutely hate that, but what's up, Nautilus? Esvez to Kansas City. The Sox grab another reliever. Brother, your choices are down to Robertson, right? That's about it in terms of high leverage guys. So I honestly don't know. My gut's telling me no. Right? My gut's telling me no. Jeff, one day, man. One day. I mean, Trout's the Red Sox is so dumb at this point, I think. What is this? Oh, that's stream alerts. Pivetta was solid in the bullpen. Like if you get Pivetta into the bullpen, right? If that's the route you're willing to, if that's the route you are trying to go, and again, this is sort of he's got nothing, right? If he's got nothing here, and you have to go and bring him in and make him a reliever, he wouldn't be a closer. Everyone's like, oh, make him the closer, make him the closer. Why? Right? I'd rather have Liam Hendricks as a closer. But you look at Nick Pivetta. Breslow doesn't value offense. No. I think right now he's kind of overvaluing prospects, and that's what we're going to get into a lot in today's video. So I'm just looking at Nick Pivetta's 2023 splits because that's really the year he played a lot of bullpen. 307 average out of the bullpen, less than 1 whip, right? 0.97. Is there a FIP metric? There is not. He was striking out 12 guys per 9 innings. Like the dude kind of raked. The dude kind of raked in the bullpen. I wouldn't hate it, but again, I don't know, right? Oh, Jonathan, that's a tough one. How about this? I'm going to be live for 2 hours. You think you get your homework done in an hour? Hey, Bobby. Grichuk is already on the bench. His name is Rob Refsnyder. Oh, I agree. When do pitchers and catchers report? 2 weeks, I believe. I think it's right before Valentine's Day, I believe. Let me see. Pitchers and catchers report 2025. So the first official one is Sox are the 12th. So I was right. Yeah. Pitchers and catchers are the 12th. Guys are going to probably start arriving next week, I would guess. Alexander, thank you for subscribing. If the Sox don't pick up any players, keep the roster as is, would you say about an 85 to 89 win team? Yeah, I'd say that's the range right now. I think Whitlock will have a big impact on the bullpen. I hope so. Going to spring training? Nah, I wish. Gotta save for a wedding. What up, Max? Yeah, it'll be nice. Look, I go into every season optimistic, right? I'm looking at ceilings. Kenley Jansen return is a bad idea. That would be so embarrassing. Can't get that guy. Can't bring that guy back. What's up, Peter? What do you think about bringing Moncada back? For what role, though? Am I going to see the Woo Dogs? Am I going to the Sea Dogs thing in April? What Sea Dogs thing? What's up, Salty? I wish they would. You think games will be in Tampa this year with no dome? I think they'll get one done. So the question I posed earlier, Chad, the reason there's a poll on here for those of you guys who are just coming in, my question was, if the Red Sox go over the first luxury tax, right? They pick up Grichuk, Pivetta, and they extend Crochet, and that pushes them over the first luxury tax. Is that still considered a cheap franchise? That's my question. I guess I could also pose it if the Red Sox extend Crochet and Tristan Casas or Roman Anthony, right? Was a hypothetical contract. I figured it would be relative. I think it'd be cheaper than the qualifying offer because he'd be a bullpen arm. Because if he, I mean, there's literally no other options for Pivetta out there, and teams just don't want to give him money. I mean, the Red Sox could give him essentially whatever they wanted to bring him back as a bullpen arm, right? It wouldn't be as a starter, which I think would drive Nick Pivetta insane. But I don't know, right? I would guess in the 15 million range for Pivetta, like a 2-year deal, 15 mil. I don't know. Pedro's still working with Bayo. Yeah, I think he still does. I'm sorry, Arlen. You got the I see. Red Sox lack of moves is the cause. Yeah. Is Sogard on the bench this season? I love this guy. I would assume he starts it on the bench this season. So I did want to go over a little bit. There was a lot of hype, I would say, yesterday into today about the Red Sox top prospects being invited to spring training. So I did want to talk a little bit about hey, that's awesome, Jonathan. About what the realistic scenarios would look like for them to be on the opening day roster, right? Because I think that's going to be the biggest storyline outside of the guys that were injured. How do they look, right? How does Hendricks look? How does Giolito look? How does Whitlock look? How does Story look? Outside of those, right? I think the biggest stories are going to be, hey, these three superstar prospects, how do they translate into major league players? And are they going to be major league players out the gate? So I do want to go over that a little bit as things stand right now, and we will. Because again, guys, I wish I could sit here and break down all the latest rumors and reports surrounding the Red Sox. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It seems like they're dead in the water on Alex Bregman. Jeff Passan today reported, he's thinking it's incredibly unlikely the Red Sox sign him. We kind of picked that up with the fact that they were at 4 years and everyone else was above 4 years, right? They were way behind the market. We kind of figured Bregman was a little bit dead in the water. Doesn't sound like they're back in on Arenado, and honestly doesn't sound like Arenado's going anywhere. In terms of relievers, guys are going left and right, and the Red Sox are stuck in the middle with nobody. So again, I wish I could tell you there was something. I don't know, right? I don't know. So we're going to try and go over some of the other stuff, I guess. We'll go over whatever you guys want to, for sure. For sure. Campbell needs to do what Rafaela did last year, hit for average, get on base. Yeah, Arlen, that's a good take. What up, Chills? Sorry, I missed that. That's a good take. He does need to do that. That's if you're talking about spring training, yeah. Right? If you're talking about spring training, yes, that is exactly what he needs to do, right? In all honesty, Rafael did do that during spring training. If that's what you're referring to, Arlen, which I'm just going to assume you are, that's exactly what he did. That's the reason why. Yeah, that's the reason why he made the team, right? You saw that lack of strikeout. He cut his strikeouts down, and then it sprung back up during the year. But that's a big reason why he made the team out of spring training. People were projecting him to start in AAA, and the outfield was going to be, Tyler O'Neill, Jarren Duran, Willie Abreu. But Cedon did so well, he earned a spot. They made a spot for him, right? And so I think that's going to be the big factor with all three of these guys. Did Tristan turn down an extension? He did last year. We haven't heard anything this year outside of him saying he doesn't want one because he didn't feel as though he earned one. Yeah, Jeff. I think we're gonna make that a full like feature length video as to pitching prospects to pay attention to during the spring. But we'll talk about it today as well. Yeah, kind of exactly. Watch. I think depending on how Crochet performs for the team, like if he is amazing for us, and we'll extend him. If he doesn't provide, I don't think we will. I don't think you have the. I don't think you have the time, to be honest with you, to do that with Crochet. I don't think you have the time to do it. Like I think if you're going to extend Crochet, it needs to be before the season starts, because once the season starts, and say he does pitch the way I think a lot of people are expecting him to pitch if he stays healthy, he's going to be a year away from free agency, and he's going to say, well, wait a second here. Why would I take 150, 160, whatever million dollars from the Red Sox now when I can make 260 million next year? Right? So I don't think you have a ton of time here with Crochet to get a deal done. I think you just kind of have to do it. I think that needs to be done before opening day. Do I think Casas could have a breakout year? Yeah. If the Red Sox trade for Tatis, do not think they are cheap, and I take back everything. That's it. That's it. If the Red Sox trade for Tatis, all this goes away. Yeah, no crap. No offense, Anthony, but yeah, I don't know. Give us some odds on Garrett extension. I would say 60%. I would say 60, 70%. Like he wants an extension. He wants that consistency. He wants that stability. The Red Sox, I think, would be incredibly dumb. To let him go into this season without a contract. I think they are going to be willing to pay, especially with all the pressure of not landing anyone else this offseason. I think a deal gets done. I'm going to bump it up to 75, 80%. I think a deal gets done. I wouldn't extend Buehler, Mike. I wouldn't extend Buehler. He's in my opinion a much more volatile producer. Is that the right word? Option, I guess, would be. Like, right, if Crochet stays healthy, I think we can almost not guarantee good statistics, but if he stays on that mound, there is a good chance that he is going to be very good. Buehler, you just don't know. And yeah, that's the other thing, Joe. Buehler specifically requested a 1-year deal. He's not going to take an extension. He's just not, right? Will Bayo have a breakout year now that the focus is off and pressure is off? Yeah. I'm going to put Bayo in my breakout category for sure. It's not exactly a secret that last year he put a lot of pressure on himself. There was in the Netflix documentary, when it comes out, you'll see that. We saw that at Fenway Fest for those of you who were there. I think this year, he understands he's no longer the pitcher on the staff. He's a pitcher on the staff. And I actually do think that's going to help him a lot in sort of just getting back to his roots, right? He's not going to feel pressured to be the guy. He's just going to be pressured to be a guy. Now, again, Bayo's still going to put pressure on himself. That's just who he is, right? He's just that dude. He's going to want to be the best. He's going to want to be the best pitcher in this rotation. And Crochet and Houck doing what they did last year, and hopefully this year, should put pressure on him to be as good as those guys. But it's a different kind of pressure, right? It's not, oh my God, they paid me this money, I have to anchor this pitching staff. It's, oh my God, they paid me this money, I want to be as good as these other guys that they hopefully paid, right? So, yeah, I think it's different pressures, and I think that is going to help a lot. How can you pay for a red seat? There should be a link if you click join. If you're watching on desktop, it should be right below it should be right next to the subscribe button. If not, Bobby, all you got to do, it will pop up in chat. It'll say become a member of Red Seat Radio. You click that link and it'll bring you right to it. Yeah, no, Bayo wasn't terrible. Bayo wasn't terrible at all. What about Vlad news? There's no Vlad news. They're not signing Crochet. I don't think people are understanding they are trying to purchase another team, and their village they're building is not nearly as profitable as people think. Mag, so you can use that argument in terms of external additions to the Red Sox, right? They haven't proven that they are willing to do that. However, the same cannot be said for internal extensions. It just can't, right? They didn't spend on the open market last year, but they extended Bayo, they extended Rafaela. The year before that, they gave $300 million to Rafael Devers. They extended Garrett Crochet. Over the last 2 years, they've extended 4 different players to bigger money. It's not crazy money, but it's bigger money, right? That is the one area of this team they have not been afraid to invest in. The players that are currently on this roster. Again, you give up Teal, you give up Montgomery, you give up Meidroth, you give up Wickelman. I promise you there is some urgency to ensure that investment, asset-wise, is matched monetarily, and they make sure that they get a larger area of success with Crochet than just 2 seasons. I promise you they are trying to do that. Feel positive about the pitching? The pitching looks great. I'm excited to see what the pitching looks like. What about Xander? Yeah, they messed up Xander. Sure. But again, you mess up 1 in the last 3 years, but you successfully finished 4, right? You still have a positive win record there. Durant, 30 home runs, huh? I give him 20. I don't think he gets to 30. Bo Bichette, I'm good with Bo. I'm all set. I don't want him. Abreu for a reliever? I've been thinking that for a little bit now. Is there a legitimate high leverage arm? Because Bayo, yeah, but Mag, isn't Crochet kind of unproven as well? Like, the underlying metrics are insane, and he was great for the first half, but he has an injury history, right? He kind of needs, he hasn't really proven himself either. And to say Rafael Devers is unproven when he was signed is crazy. To say that Garrett Whitlock was unproven when he was extended is crazy. To say that Bayo was kind of unproven when he was extended is kind of crazy, right? He was proven to be a legitimate everyday starting pitcher. The only one you can really say was truly unproven here was, say, Don Rafaela. That's it. Hey, thanks a lot, Roy. I appreciate you listening. Cutter for an elite reliever? I think Cutter's movable for sure. I don't know if a reliever's the one I would move him for. If I'm moving Cutter, I think it's for a bat. He is still unsigned. Who? Crochet? Yeah, dude, he's been here for a month. Things take time. I'm telling you, I can't wait to make the breaking Garrett Crochet's gonna be here for 6 years video. How much do we see Campbell Anthony Meyer this year? Okay, so this is sort of the crux of the live stream, I think, right? This is gonna be sort of the crux of this live stream. What up, Daniel? This is what I've been wanting to talk about, because I think it's going to be a hot button issue the entirety of the next month and a half. Yeah, Crochet's been here for a month, Mag. Right. It takes time to get these guys acclimated. It's going to take time for them to start talking. They just started talking, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, right? Willier for Robert Suarez makes much sense. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. That's a legitimate name. Okay. Breslow putting all his chips on the table with the big three. Yeah, so that's going to be the conversation tonight. And that's why the title of this is this the Red Sox master plan, right? Is this their true idea? The invite to spring training with Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, Marcel Meyer, while not surprising, and I think was pretty clearly going to happen regardless of who was added this offseason, it sort of sparks that conversation. Is this truly what Breslow's putting the chips on? And it looks like it is, right? It looks like it is. They're no longer really in on Breslow. They're no longer Breslow. They're longer really in on Bregman. They're not really in on Arenado anymore. It feels like that production that we were looking for is going to come from an internal source. So the question becomes, is this somebody that immediately you're going to have an impact on this team? Or is it someone, hey, midway through the year, if we need you, we're going to come up? That's the question. And I think each of them are different conversations, right? I think Roman Anthony is, in my opinion, the most major league ready. Does that make sense? He's hit at every single level. There's no real true holes in his game outside of swinging and missing a little bit. But that could be coached, right? Especially with the eye that he has. That could be coached. He hits lefties well. He hits righties well. The question becomes with Roman Anthony is, where do you put him, right? Because you've got Cedon in center, Duran in left, and Abreu in right. Abreu just won a Gold Glove. He was one of the top rookies in the AL. Cedon, you paid. We know he's got Platinum Glove potential, and obviously Jarren Duran was your best player last year overall. Right? So instead of the question of is Roman Anthony ready for Major League Baseball, because I think the answer to that is yes before spring training starts, the bigger question is, can he do enough in spring training to show that he's better than one of those players? I don't know. I don't know that he can. To be honest with you, I don't know. Right? I think it's going to come down to Wilyer Abreu, right? I think it's going to come down to Wilyer Abreu. If they trade him, I think it's obviously clear that Roman Anthony slides into that spot. If they don't trade him, the only other way I think it makes sense to put Roman Anthony on the opening day roster is if you move, say, Don Rafaela into a super utility role, right? Wilyer can't exactly play another position, and I don't know that he becomes a bench bat because that takes away from, again, you only have 4 spots on the bench. One of them has to be Ref Snyder. He's really the only other righty out there that can hit left-handed hitters or left-handed pitchers. You need that guy. He's also a veteran, very, very productive for the Red Sox overall. Probably not going to put that guy away. Romy, I think, needs to be there, right? Again, another right-handed bat that did well against lefties. He's also kind of, Nick Sogard, sure, is another option for the infield, but I think Romy last year was much more valuable. You need Narvaez or Sable, most likely Narvaez, and then that 4 spot's kind of open, right? I would assume it'd be David Hamilton, but it could be Sogard. Right, putting Wilyer in there instead of David Hamilton takes away another option for the infield, which I don't think is a fantastic idea. Plus, it adds another lefty to the equation. Not that David Hamilton is not a lefty, but it's just sort of on top of everything. So there's your question, right? If you were going to put Roman Anthony on the everyday roster, you're certainly not moving Duran. I don't think there's room to move Abreu. The only other option is that, say, Don Rafaela becomes a utility infielder. That's not going to work, Mag, because of the next guy we're talking about, right? Because then the other conversation is, because a lot of people will just go, just move Cedon to shortstop or move Cedon to second base. He'll be fine. That's great. You also have Vaughn Grissom and Christian Campbell clearly fighting for a position for that second base spot. Right? One of those two is going to win out. Whichever one doesn't, probably going to end up in AAA. Unless it's Christian Campbell and your idea is to put him in the outfield. But again, then the question becomes, How do you fit him into the outfield? Right? So you sit there and you say, okay, if these are the guys that you're going to hang your hat on to be the impact, right? You're not going to sign a Bregman. You're certainly not going to sign an Alonso. You didn't sign a Soto. You didn't sign a Teoscar. You didn't sign an O'Neill. You didn't sign a Santander. You signed nobody for a bat. Someone has to come in here and produce, probably at the bottom of the lineup, and then move their way up to the top of the lineup for you to have a legitimate, impactful, meaningful offseason. And it's got to be Roman Anthony or Christian Campbell. Where do you put him? That's the question, right? Can Vaughn Grissom come in here and be an impact right-handed bat? The potential is there. The potential is certainly there. You can't argue that the potential is there, in fact. Right? We saw a small glimpse of who Grissom could be last year, and people went, ugh, this dude, right? We saw a small glimpse of a very not 100% Grissom last year, and people have given up on him. The potential is there for him to be a legitimate impact bat. But again, that's a big question. So one of those three guys, kind of right off the bat, has to be a meaningful addition to this team. But then you have to find room for him, which is what makes spring training really, really fascinating this year. And then on top of that, you add in the whole Marcelo thing. Now, Marcelo, I think, is a much different case. I don't think Marcelo has much, if any, chance to make the opening day roster. I think Red Sox fans understand that. I think we're smarter than we lead on sometimes. Marcelo certainly needs some time in AAA. He has none, right? He'd be skipping essentially AA to Major League Baseball. I think the only way that he gets onto the opening day roster would be if Trevor Story goes down, David Hamilton goes down, and Nick Sogard goes down. And even then, I think they'd go Nick Eaton, or they'd go, who's that guy they just picked up? Abraham Toro, before they go Marcel, because they don't want to put him into this lineup just yet. So he's kind of a different case. But so what do we think, chat? What do we think? Genuinely. We could take a look at it, Steven. I haven't heard much about it, but we could certainly take a look at it. You like the Toro signing? I don't hate it either. There's no bad minor league signings. Grissom at DH. What happens to Massa? Right? What happens to Massa? Bobby, you figured it out. Thanks so much for becoming a member, my friend. I appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Second best offseason? I don't think they had the second best offseason. No, I think they had one of the top 5 off seasons for sure. They just didn't spend money. What up, Cody? Bobby got his seat. Let's go. Way to go, Bobby. Way to go, Bobby. Massa gets buried in the injured list. Yeah, but it's just too much money to hide. If you're going to do that, you might as well just, you genuinely might as well just DFA him at that point, right? You're just wasting money. I don't think there's any reason for the Red Sox to do that. Let me see what Julian McWilliams is saying. So Julian McWilliams hasn't tweeted in the last month. I don't think Julian McWilliams is doing much. We need Vladdy. Guys, I don't think you understand. Vladdy isn't an option right now. The Blue Jays aren't going to trade Vladdy. Rather frustrating. But that's the question, sir. Is it they don't want to invest? They don't want to invest in a right-handed hitter, or they trust a Christian Campbell, a Roman Anthony to be more impactful than any right-handed hitter they could get? That's the question, right? And again, it goes back to what I've been talking about this entire time with Bregman is you're relying on questions. The entirety of your season essentially hinges on questions. And not only just questions, it's hanging in the balance of players who have never touched a major league diamond. Not that I don't think these guys are going to be incredible. But you look at sort of the overall landscape of it, right? What's a better way for the Red Sox to integrate key pieces to the future of their franchise? As a heralded savior of the team or as a nice little addition to the team? Which one's probably an easier transition? I'll tell you what my opinion is. You guys know my opinion. In my opinion, the correct answer is the easier path for them to be successful is to not make him a mainstay of the Red Sox immediately. It's why Xander Bogaerts came up, 2013. He wasn't he wasn't the savior of the 2013 Red Sox. He was just an addition. It's a lot of pressure to put on the prospects. And I will say, these prospects right now are more pressured than I think any Red Sox prospect has been in the last 20 years. 20 years. Like Rafi, there wasn't a ton of pressure on. You had Mookie. Right? He had Mookie. That team was incredible anyways. There wasn't really a ton of need for him. He was just a nice addition. Not since Nomar. Yeah, maybe Nomar it is. I don't know. But you sit there. Absolutely not, Max. But you sit there. And it's like these guys have been dealing with this since the entirety of last year, basically. Right? The entirety. I would even say Marcel's been dealing with since he came into the. So are they used to this pressure? Is that what they're sort of sitting there with, right? Are they sort of sitting there, the Red Sox front office, saying, look, these guys don't feel the pressure. They've had it their entire minor league careers. Christian Campbell started exploding last year, and everyone was like, okay, dude, when are you going to do it in Boston, right? It was immediate. So I sit there and I say, well, if I'm Craig Breslow, is part of my reasoning here, these guys are kind of built for this, right? They were kind of not born into it's the wrong word, but since coming to the Red Sox, they were kind of born into it, right? They've been pressured the entire time. Roman Anthony had a decent year his first year coming up, and everyone was like, this is going to be the dude. This is going to be the dude, right? This is how a small market team has to do things. Yeah, so here's the question I have for those guys who are like, this is only a small market team. And I'm not going to argue the small market accusations. That's the word I was looking for. What I am going to say is, okay, these guys come up, they rake, right? They make the playoffs, and then the Red Sox extend not only Crochet, but by the end of the year, or maybe going into 26, they've got Anthony under contract, they've got Campbell under contract to go with Devers and Crochet. Does that still make them a small market team? That's my question. Would you consider the Braves a small market team, right? Because if they do a similar thing like the Braves did, watch these guys perform for 3-4 months, say that's going to be a dude for the next 7, 8, 9, 10 years, sign him up, and they sign him up, does that still make them a small market team because they didn't externally bring in the big money pieces? Hey, Steven, I hope you have fun, man. Enjoy it. So there's my general question, right? Are the Red Sox still a cheap team if they go in there and they extend all these guys? You'd still consider it a cheap team. Interesting. Sounds like a plan, Mike. If, yeah, and that's a big question, right? If we're having hypotheticals. There's nothing but hypotheticals to talk about. There's nothing but hypotheticals to talk about. So yes, it's an if, right? Because what are they? No, Bobby. This is a hypothetical question that going into 26, the Red Sox are sitting there and they've got Crochet locked up for, let's say, 6 years. They've got Anthony, who just had a great season, locked up for 9 years. They've got Campbell locked up for 8 years, 9 years, whatever. Is that still a small market mentality? That's my question to people who are throwing. And again, I'm not trying to argue whether or not right now they are consider, like, you could throw around the small market accusations. That's not my point. My point is the overall question. If the Red Sox come in there 2026 and they've got a core of Devers for the next 7, Crochet for the next 6, Roman for the next 8, Campbell for the next 8. Looking at prospects as a season make or break is horrible planning. If I'm the Sox, I'm not planning on winning without them. Anything else is bonus. I'm planning on winning without them. Yeah, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, Dylan. That's not what they're doing. It's already over, Ari. All the top 3 relievers are signed. No, they're not going to sign Bregman. Here's the other thing I've seen a lot of Red Sox fans say is that if the offense is going to be terrible. Didn't go out and get someone and pay them. So, Jason, my question to you is, would you consider what the Braves are doing or have been doing by locking up Acuna, by locking up Albies, by locking up Austin Riley, by locking up Michael Harris Jr., by locking up Sean Murphy, Matt Olson? You consider that a cheap team? That's my question. Because personally, I don't consider that a cheap team. I consider that a smart team that took advantage of a market. I'm not saying to consider them a big market team, guys. That's not my point. My point is for those of you that are saying they are a small market team and they are cheap. If they were to extend, let's say, the young core of this team going forward for the next 9 years, would you still put that label on them without making any crazy additions in free agency? They supplement. They bring in guys. Maybe it's, again, via the trade extension conversation like the Braves have done. Do you still consider that a terrible team or a cheap team? That's not the question, Mag. That's not the question. The question is, do you consider that a cheap team? Alexander, thank you so much for becoming a member of the Standing Room. Create some claps in the chat for him. Too many lefties. I truly don't care about lineup balance. I'll be honest with you guys. The reason the Red Sox were bad against lefties last year were not because they didn't have enough righties. It's because their big bats couldn't hit lefties. That was the problem, right? Regardless of how many righties you bring in here, you are still going to be relying on Rafael Devers, Jarren Rand, and Tristan Casas to make good plays. Right? Those guys need to get better against lefties. The solution is not simply get a bunch of righties in here. It's the lefties on this team have to be better. Bobby been a member for a month. Thank you so much, Bobby, for re-upping once again. You think Story will play a full season or get injured again? I don't know, man. I don't know. If they're not a legit contender. So yeah, I guess at the end of the day, if they're winning, right? No one throws out cheap. No one threw out cheap to the 2021 Red Sox, right? But I just because in my mind, right, is this the master plan? Is this the master plan? They can't keep getting away with spending no money. That month went quick. I think he was a member before and re-upped and finally got the month notification. Because if they continue to spend no money on anybody, people are just going to stop paying attention. It's just a fact, right? People are already stopping paying attention. Look at my numbers in January, right? My point is, if they give $100 million, $150 million to Crochet, $100 million to Roman Anthony, $100 million to Christian Campbell, $200 million for Tristan Casas, and then they're at bare minimum wild card contenders for the next 5 years. We're still going to be sitting here complaining about them not spending. That's my question. If they get a good right-handed bat, I'll switch my vote. Again, the problem with this team is not that they need right-handed. Yes, Kevin. Kevin, yes, it's if. Right? There's nothing going on with the Red Sox right now. If I could talk about concrete things, we would be talking about it. We both know it's a fantasy. The problem with saying it's a fantasy, is that the one area the Red Sox have not been a fantasy in is extending players. Again, I'm going to say this 100 times this live stream because we're going to get this comment 100 times. They have not spent anything in free agency. Valid criticism. We all hate it. No one's trying to ignore that. Right? No one's trying to ignore that. But you can't also ignore the fact that instead of spending money in the free agent market, they decided to extend Bayo, extend Rafael, extend Whitlock, and give Rafael Devers $300 million. It's the one area they have not been afraid to spend money on. Why would that stop, or that line of thinking stop, with these guys? Right? Why are we all of a sudden saying, nah. It's not going to happen with these guys? Then extended 4 dudes, hundreds of millions of dollars. Not really, right? It's the same conversation. The money's just a little bit different. That's it. Nautilus, I don't think that's a good idea. Honestly, Duran's too good in the outfield. Yoshida, I don't think is good enough defensively. Right, so we sit here and say, what are the Red Sox doing? Why aren't the Red Sox spending? I think that the answer everyone wants to say is that they don't want to invest. And you know what? Right? I'm not going to sit here and argue against that. They haven't shown that they want to invest. But I'm genuinely intrigued. Genuinely intrigued to have a conversation about the idea of whether or not the Red Sox extending these guys, truly putting their faith into these players and saying This is how we are going to spend our big money for the next 2 years, whether or not you'd be upset about it. Because I got to be honest with you, I don't think I would, right? If they went a Braves strategy, and I understand, the Red Sox make way more money than the Braves. That's fine. That doesn't mean it's bad baseball, right? That doesn't mean it's bad baseball. The only thing that means is that they're probably going to have to give more money to these players. That's kind of the only thing it means. But like, I genuinely, as a fan, don't know how I could be upset if the Red Sox lock up a core and then go from there. I just don't. I would say a reliever. Yeah, so that's the question, right? Is that the ultimate plan? Is that the ultimate plan? What happens to the team if John Henry dies? I would assume his shares are divvied up between the board. Nothing super fun. I don't like this light setting. Hold on a second, chat. Whoa, definitely not this one. That's a little bit. I like that one a little bit better. I don't know why. First stream of the season. Yeah, it'll be opening day. We'll do a big one opening day. I think the big issue is the competition getting sure things and getting better, and the Sox playing the hope game. Agreed. Right. I think watching the Yankees go out and get sure things instead of relying on their prospects really rubs me the wrong way. Right. I think you guys too. The Blue Jays haven't really done a whole lot. I'm not scared of the Blue Jays. The Rays I'm not really scared of. The Orioles are doing exactly what I'm saying they're doing, except they're not paying them. Right. The AL, like, is there any fiercer opponent in the AL outside of the Yankees? Like, are you truly terrified of the Royals or the Guardians or the Twins or the Astros or the Mariners? Like, I'm not, right? As a Red Sox fan, I'm putting roster to roster here. The only one I'm truly afraid of is the Yankees. Concepts of a plan. Joe, I think you can legitimately make that argument. I think you legitimately make that argument that right now the Red Sox, we're basically the same team as last year with way better pitching, incredible prospect. That's at least an extra 10 wins. 10, no. 8 or 9, maybe. So here's the other thing I see a lot, and to a degree, you're right? A lot of top prospects in baseball that come up and just don't hit near the projections. And it happens from time to time here, for sure. But there's a difference between, hey, this is the top guy in our system, right? Blake Swihart's a good example of that. He was never really a incredibly widely regarded top prospect in baseball, but there were points where he was the top prospect in the Red Sox system. Right now, the difference is you've got everybody saying Roman Anthony is the number one prospect in baseball if it wasn't for Roki Sasaki, which I got to tell you, I don't know if it counts, right? I think it counts a little bit more than like a Massa was in the running for Rookie of the Year. I thought that was ridiculous. But that's a little bit of a different conversation, right? Because you could sit there and you could say 10% of all minor leaguers make it to Major League Baseball. 10% of those guys make it past a year and a half. Any bets on how badly the Dodgers will smash the Yankees in the 2025 World Series? Thank you so much, CH. 5th super chat on live stream. Get some claps in the chat for his generosity. I really appreciate that. Well, they won't be in the World Series, so the Red Sox will be in the World Series, baby. How did the Rays add one of the top pitchers in the game, Joe? I'm not from Massachusetts. I'm from New Hampshire. Am I getting MLB The Show 25? Would you be down to do a couple of streams playing? Yes, and maybe. I have to figure out a way to do that. I'm thinking I might go and grab some stuff to do that this year, but maybe do it as a members only thing. I don't know. Yeah, you know what's interesting, just a dude. I think the perception of the Red Sox that they have right now, like Red Sox fans have right now, versatility comes in here, and this dude gives 10 members, gives 5 memberships. Can we get some claps in the chat for the one and only versatility coming in here, making it rain, expanding the membership group. I love it. Thank you so much, versatility. That was incredibly generous of you. Thank you. $5 super chat from Bay Sox Bombs. His first super chat of the live stream. Can we get some likes on that as well? Thank you so much, Bay Sox. I really appreciate your generosity, man. Thank you. We gotta have something. I keep trying to think about, like when versatility gives 5 memberships or someone donates $5 or whatever. We gotta figure out like a fun dance or something. You know what I mean? I've been trying to figure that out. Like, is there something I can do? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Either way, bold takes. Connor Wong quietly hits 20 home runs. Donated 10 members. It said that on the notification, but it's 5 in the chat. Versatility. I got it wrong. 20 home runs. You know what, man? I really appreciate the $5. How many did he hit last year? 9? Versatility, what if I had said 100? What would you have done then? Versatility heard me say he did make me not a liar. Thank you. Make sure we're clapping. If you guys got a membership from Versatility in this chat right now, make sure you say thank you. The world may never know. Man, incredible Versatility. Absolutely incredible, man. I can't thank you enough. Incredibly generous. Everyone who donates any of their money, time, whatever. I can't thank you guys enough. Hey, we got a mod in here. Prodigy, Robbie, you guys here? So Connor Wong hit 13 home runs last year. Can he add 7 more this year? That was on 126 games. I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's incredibly likely. I like that. I like the idea. Play the clip of Veritek smashing Air Rod's pace with funny music. Maybe the donation. I don't think I can add that. I got to get copywritten. What we need is spring to come ASAP, so some questions can actually be answered. Yeah, facts. True. Yeah, maybe versatility. Versatility. What would you do if you bought the Red Sox? I'm very curious. 1982. You've seen some bad off seasons, man. This cannot be one of them. Do you think we'll have a breakout player this year? Whitlock, I think, is going to be a breakout player. Bayo, I think, is in that conversation. I think you put Grissom in there if he earns the opening day spot. $5 super set from CH. Man is on a mission tonight. Can we get some claps in the chat for him? Or make sure you like that message. I always say claps because we did that for so long. Now you can just like the message. I think it works a little bit better. Make sure you like that. Yeah, I've been thinking about that CH, trying to throw around the idea of, especially for the members only, trying to do like is versatility John Henry? Versatility, are you John Henry? Doing like a open mic night kind of. We'll see. I've got some things in store, I think, for live streams this year. We'll see. Yeah, I got to figure out a dance for him. We'll do something. Maybe we'll do like, what did we do? One time someone said, if I donate $50, will you do 25 push-ups? Maybe we'll do something like that. Cannot confirm nor deny. Then what are you doing? Brian Mata, breakout bullpen arm. That's a bold take. Homers, let's see. Story only is 10. Corbin twerking challenge. Brother, you don't want to see this. John Henry wouldn't spend this much. Yeah, true. You gave yourself away there. Yeah, true. Maybe the true reason why John Henry isn't spending on this team is because he's spending on Red Sea Radio. Exposed. Got him, chat. Is there a cat in here? Do you hear that? You guys want to say hi to my new cat? Have you guys seen my new cat yet? Let's see. Scoops? Are you at the door? Come on in. Hey, Scooby. Ow. 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 Everyone, this is Scoops. He's a menace to society. Not right, buddy. Okay. Steve Cohen type stuff. I don't think he's happy. That cat is just never happy. Yeah, Scoops. Scoops the cat. What's the designated rally cat this year? It's got to be. It's Misty because she stays on my lap. This cat is a menace. An absolute menace. I don't even know where he went. I lost him already. Corbin, I heard Kevin Millar say that Willier's 30 home run potential. Thoughts? Yeah, he does, but I don't know if he gets that. The question with Willier is he going to be able to hit left-handed pitching this year? What reliever do I think the Sox sign trade for? Robertson's the only one. Scoops will not tolerate being scooped. Yeah, Buddy is loud and does not like getting picked up. Do a live stream with my cats. I don't know, man. I'd have to pay attention to him the whole time. That's the reason. Scoop's a great name. Yeah, I convinced Jessica to go with Scoops. Took a little bit, but I had to get Rafi in there a little bit. You know what I mean? All right, back to this is what happens on live streams in the middle of January is we're off. we're off on a tangent. Could Duran go 30-50 this season? I just don't see 30 bombs from Duran this year. It was that or Yastrzemski. It was that or Teddy. And honestly, Teddy would be a good name for him. He is kind of Teddy-y. See, this is what he does. He meows. Hey. Get out of the jersey. Here, you want to get out? Please? Here, come on. Hey, go ahead. Hey. Idiot. $2 super chat from CH. Man, he's throwing around the money today. Let's go. Thank you so much, CH. You've been extremely generous with your time and your money, much like versatility tonight. Scoops the Yankee man? He might be. Keep Criswell? Yeah, they're definitely not going to get rid of Criswell, I don't think. W. Corbin went from subpar analyst to legit. Is that a backhanded compliment? I don't know. I don't know how to take that one. Thanks, I think. Scott Cooper? No. Can we get an Emma of the Show content on like members only or something? Or like a Red Seat gaming channel? Yeah, we might. I've been really into Marvel Rivals recently, so. Yeah. The show used to really suck. Now you're all right. I mean, thanks. I'll take it. All right. Let's someone give me a baseball content. Did you consider Cadiel Devers? No. All right, VA. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Oh, I appreciate that too, Wraith. Yeah, I don't know him, but I'll take it. Thank you. Yeah, I don't think Criswell's a bad idea at all. I think they hold on to him. He's a legit option. There's no reason to not hold on to him. January giving you Jacoby Ellsbury vibes. Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. Red Seat After Dark. I've wanted so badly, like a couple of times, to just make a video where I'm just going to town. There is so much cat hair on this hat. No one told me. Guys, you're supposed to be looking out for me. Look at that. You're supposed to be looking out for me. Just same channel with the lights off. Welcome back to Red Seat Dark. Today, we're discussing the mortality of baseball players. Evolving? Hey, I'll take evolving. My wife says I've been obsessed because I've been having my notifications on. I've been tentative to see what the Red Sox are going to do. Barely have fingernails. Yeah, man. It's been one of those off seasons where it feels like there's always another shoe that's going to drop, and it just doesn't drop. And that makes it worse, right? Because you sit there and it puts you through this hell, and then you don't get a reward on the other side. Yeah, Bay Sox. We're going to do one soon. We couldn't get one together this week. We're going to do one soon, I think. Laser show the whole show. How do we do that again? Is it this? Yeah, there it is. This is the entire show. That's our home run celebration, by the way. If you guys haven't been here for regular season games, that's what we do when the home run comes around. Trolling about Soto for months. At least you get that. At least you get that. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I think at this point, what we're going to be doing going forward is just sort of going through the rosters, right? Like, I think that's kind of it. Do I stream every game? No, I wish I could stream every game. No, we do the same once a week, but it's a watch party. It's a lot of fun. Gave you content for a couple months. Yeah, that's true. At least there was stuff to talk about. Last year, I will say, was much harder to make content for than this year. This year it didn't ultimately, although you did get crochet, which was a big one, obviously. But there was a lot more conversations to be had this year than there were last year. Whatever happened to Seattle trade talks just sort of died. It sounded like the Red Sox weren't willing to give up what the Mariners wanted. It sounded like the Mariners didn't want what the Red Sox wanted. So I think they just sort of died out. I mean, honestly, it kind of sounds like the Mariners are just sort of not really willing to trade anyone, which I don't understand, because to a worse degree than the Red Sox, they're not willing to spend money on anybody, right? I mean, at least the Red Sox lie to us. The Mariners sit there and they say, no, we're not spending on a single person. You're going to like it. You know what I mean? Criswell, Winkowski. I would guess Wink is probably at the top of that list, Brent. I would, outside that, it gets a little bit tricky. Like Criswell's a legit usable piece. The good news is that with a lot of players in this bullpen, they have options, right? You could option Zach Kelly. I hope they don't. I love Zach Kelly, despite the accusations that he's a bad pitcher. By accusations, I mean his ERA and FIP. You could option Zach Kelly. You could option Winkowski, right? You don't have to trade one of these guys. So the bullpen, I think, is a really in a good spot. I think a lot of people are going to disagree with that statement, but the reason I say good spot is because they have so much wiggle room, right? You get midway through the season. The problem is you don't have wiggle room in the back end. It's Slayton, it's Chapman, it's Whitlock maybe, Guerrero maybe, and Liam Hendricks. If those guys aren't performing, you don't have options in the back end, which is why we sit here and we say we need another back end guy. But that sort of mid-rotation, that mid-reliever option, that long reliever option, say there's a stretch where Winkowski's got like a 7 ERA. You could option him back down and bring up a Luis Guerrero, who's I think is going to be fantastic this year, by the way. Zach Penrod. You could bring him up. You could bring up a Dobbins. Hey, Richard Fitz could come in there. You could bring up one of the minor league guys you signed to contracts this offseason. You've got 15-ish legitimate options to come into that bullpen and pick up some of this mid-relief spot. So I do think they're in a much better spot than they were last year in that case. The problem is the most important inning, right? The 9th inning, that's the biggest question mark. If Liam Hendricks isn't good this year, I don't know what they do. You can't put Chapman in the back, or you can't put him in the back end. You can't put him in the closer spot. He hasn't been good there in a little bit. Is it Justin Slayton? Red Sox fans seem to think it is. Do the Red Sox think it is, right? Is it Luis Guerrero? I don't know. That's the big question, and that's why a lot of us sit here and say, get us another high-leverage relieving option, because in that case, you don't have to put Slayton into a immediate closer role. You don't have to put Guerrero into an immediate closer role if Hendricks isn't working out. You could put a Robertson in there for a few weeks, right? You could make that work. I think that's the big thing. So, what's up, Mark? So while I would agree that, hey, the bullpen could get better, I don't think, honestly, the fact that the Red Sox haven't spent money have made this team look a lot worse than it actually is. And I don't think that's a crazy take. I think Red Sox fans look at this team to a much lesser degree because the Red Sox didn't spend any money. Now, don't get me wrong. Had the Red Sox picked up a big contract, fans would be more excited. The roster would look better. But, looking at the roster how it is right now, against what it was last year and against what it could be this season, they're in a much better spot, I think, than a lot of people are willing to acknowledge because of their issues with this ownership group. And I think in my mind, I'm at the point now, looking at this roster, where I'm just simply separating the ownership's lack of investment versus the players that are actually on this team, right? The players that are putting the jersey on their backs, the players that are giving their bodies, giving their minds to this city and playing for the team we love, the Boston Red Sox. I think that's the only way to look at it right now as a Red Sox fan, because if you sit there and you can't separate the two of them, you're going to be miserable forever. But I think there's a reason why John Boy Media, right? They got Talking Yankees. They're terrified of the Red Sox. There's a reason why Locked On Yankees is terrified of the Red Sox. There's a reason why a lot of major publications said, hey, they had one of the top 5 off seasons in the game this year. There are a lot of people out there saying the Red Sox are the wild card, dark horse is what I meant to say, of the AL. It's because the actual team on paper has a really, really high ceiling. And that's in my opinion, at this point in the offseason, what we need to focus on. I don't think we're going to see another big signing for a bat. I just don't see it happening. I think it's going to end up being Randall Grichuk. I don't entirely see a game-changing reliever, mostly because the game-changing relievers are gone. They're still solid options, and I'll be happy if they pick one of them up, but I'm talking about game-changing. Right now, it's about who they have and those players specifically, and not so much the Red Sox inability to spend. So I'm sorry I went into a complete rant there, but you may have already covered this, but thoughts on why Breslow hasn't made any moves recently? Peter, the only thing I can do is speculate, right? If I had more information, I probably wouldn't have a day job, right? But my speculation, at least my sort of blind optimistic hope, is that he has so much faith in what these young players can be. He doesn't feel as though investing in older players is at all worth what it would be, even this year, right? Because the goal right now should be to win. It shouldn't be to build for the foreseeable future. It should be to win right now and figure it out as you get forward into this era of new prospects. If Breslow is sitting there saying, this is the year the prospects are going to make a legitimate big impact, we're not blocking them, we're letting them loose, and then we're going to sign them to long-term extensions once we see that they can get turned loose, then I think Breslow played it well. It's a huge, huge risk. It's a massive risk. All right, CH. Yeah, I'll be your coach. I think Sox fans feel like it's a failure because they told us they wanted 2 top stars, a right-hand bat, and a closer, but they really only got the starters. No. It's warranted. It's absolutely warranted. But I also think it's dragging down the overall, just who's on the roster right now, right? I'm not saying it's unwarranted. It is totally brought on by this front office's inability, right? Inability to finish what they set out to accomplish. But that doesn't mean the team on paper is bad. I think those are two different conversations, right? $1.99 super chat from Mark. Look at you guys already liking the message. Incredible. Thank you so much for your generosity, Mark. He says, when do we trade Willie? That's a big question, right? I'm curious if maybe they go into spring training with these guys and then see what Anthony can do, right? If Anthony blows the door off of them, then you turn around, you trade Willier for a reliever, right? Do I really think this is a playoff team? I think this is a fully capable playoff team. My expectations are wild card. And I think they should be for Red Sox fans. I think a lot of people are going to sit there and they're going to say, no, they didn't spend. They're not a big market team. They're not going to make the playoffs. I think you need to separate it right now. Willier still here shows Breslow's a beast. Shows Breslow's a beast. I don't know. I don't know if that means he's a beast. Why trade Willie? Because Willier could be a really solid player. Roman Anthony could be a superstar. That's the difference, right? Don, thank you so much for becoming a member. Man, you guys have been incredible tonight. It's unbelievable. GG has been saying the Sox have been talking to the Giants for Duvall. I don't know if I talked to G. I guess we'll see. I wouldn't mind that at all. If we sign Pavetta, I'm gonna lose my mind. Would you still lose your mind if it was for the bullpen? Yeah, G's a really, really nice guy. Do you believe we will get Bregman? No, not even a little bit. Yeah, we'll see, Joe. Why is Theo here? To be owner of a multi-sport franchise, not to run the Boston Red Sox, in my opinion. Theo's here to buy the Sox? No. Yeah, I would rather have Robertson too, Dale. I don't think that's a hard take at all. Do you think we have a good trade deadline? That depends on if they're competitive. The Red Sox go after Vlad next offseason? I don't know. I gotta be honest, we have no faith in it. I have no faith in them being able to do that. Haven't fixed the defense like they promised. I'll say this, Quentin. The defense last year was really spotty for a couple of reasons that I think are internally fixable. And we actually talked about this a few times coming into this offseason. We talked about the defense being a problem and the internal possible fixes. Story getting hurt, right? Story getting hurt immediately makes your defense much, much worse. Taking Cedana out of the outfield, although Duran did a stellar job out there, hurt. Having young guys in a lot of major positions hurt. Von Grissom getting injured, it hurt. Tristan Casas getting injured, that hurt, right? You had so many injuries last year, it was almost impossible for you to be a good defensive team. This year, all you could do is hope, right? But you look at it, Story's back at shortstop. That's a good sign that your defense is going to be better. You're able to put Cedana in center field. He could possibly be a platinum glove winner. He's going to have experience, which is important. Willier Brady just won a gold glove in right field. Jaron Duran was a top outfielder defensively in baseball last year. He's going to be okay. Between either Christian Campbell or Von Grissom, one of those guys who's going to be, right now I'd lean towards Grissom. We'll see how spring training goes, is going to be your everyday second baseman. Both of those guys are above average defensive players. Second base has been the biggest issue for you recently, right? All of a sudden that gets fixed. You look like a much better defensive team. Rafi's still going to do what Rafi does over at third base, but I will say in games that he's played with Trevor Story specifically, he was an almost league average defensive third baseman, and that's saying something for Rafi, right? So if Story can make Rafi look better, the defense looks better. Casas hasn't been great defensively overall, but one thing he does extremely well, despite the lack of defensive metrics for him, is his scoop ability. That guy is incredible at keeping the ball in front of his body, and that's going to be a big up for this Red Sox team. Again, you could sit there and you could say, but there's going to be injuries. Story hasn't been healthy for 3 years. Fine. Right? But you also can't go into a season expecting this guy to miss 100 games. You just can't do it. Especially if you're paying him $20 million a year, 25, whatever it is. Right? You just can't do it. So if you look at the layout of the Red Sox right now, on paper, they're a much better defensive team than they were last year. It's just a fact. Is Sammy even on the team if Grissom and Campbell are both options? That's a great question. I don't know. I would say no, kind of. You don't really need a lefty option off the bench. You got 1,000 of them in the lineup. Why so much faith in Vaughn Grissom? One, because he never saw true Vaughn Grissom last year. Vaughn Grissom, when he even came back from his injury, lost 14 pounds in the week leading up to it because of illness. His hamstring was never fully healed, so he's putting all of his pressure on the other hamstring, which is why he ended up tearing it. And then he ended up coming back and hit like 350 for the last 14 games of the year when he was fully healthy. On top of that, he's put on about 10 pounds of pure muscle this offseason, on top of the body weight that he brought back to himself, having lost it to the flu last season. So really, it's 24 pounds added to him. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's healthier than he has been. This is a guy who, when healthy with the Braves, was at the bare minimum league average bat. Right? He was a league average bat. Realistically, in his larger sample size, he was a better than league average bat. And he has been solid at second base. That's why I have so much faith in Grissom. That's awesome, Bobby. Yeah, I'd agree. The difference this year, Joe, than it was last year. Story went down, and everyone went, well, crap, there's the defensive season, right? There was no option. You brought up David Hamilton. Mike, I'm sorry, not a good shortstop. You put Cedon Rafaela there. Again, he was a league average shortstop because he hadn't really played shortstop recently. This year, you've got Sogard, who could play at bare minimum, I think, a league average defensive shortstop if he needs to. Romy Gonzalez was a slightly below league average shortstop, but hey, slightly below league average is better than really bad, being like, oh crap, what do we do? You've got Marcelo Meyer, I would say by July, August, right? You get an injury then. You got Marcelo Meyer in there. Christian Campbell could man it for a couple of weeks. I wouldn't exactly put your hopes in him being a Gold Glover at shortstop. But again, the difference is when Story went down last year, David Hamilton was your backup, and then you had to move Cedon into center field because that backup was so terrible. This year, you got 3 options, potentially 4, depending on when Story gets injured. If he gets injured this year, knock on wood, to back him up and at the bare minimum give you league average defense and keep you afloat defensively. And I think that's the big difference between Story going down last year and Story going down this year. If you were to get I'm sorry, Mike. Good question, Mike. I would go black. Black with a red B logo or the Red Sox logo would be sick. Pavetta, why is Pavetta name popping up? Sounds like his market has just totally died and people are thinking the Red Sox scoop him back up for cheap. From my shop? Ooh, that's a different story. I would go black. I would go black or tan. I think the blue, the red kind of blends in a little bit because it's a darker red. But on the black, it stands out a lot. I really like the black hats. All right, Steven, have fun. Thanks for stopping by. I think over the long run, Bay Sox, I think Crochet wins. Pavetta and the bullpen look great. Yeah, great, yes. Better, I would say. Good luck to them. Yeah, take them. Why do people want Alonso? They want a name, dude. They just want the Red Sox to spend money. Alonso, to me, makes less sense than Arenado. Bigger sample size of Grissom? Yeah, and I think we'll get it this year. Yeah, I think that's the answer, Dill. I think genuinely people look at it and say, I just want a name. Think this is Bayo's breakout? I could see it. We've talked about it before, but yeah, I could see it. Nick is probably tripping, not taking the 21. Yeah, I think so. Heard the Blue Jays apparently have the highest AAV and the highest years on the table for Bregman, but also apparently like poor Blue Jays, man. Like every other free agent they've talked to, they are the bottom tier of what Bregman wants. Apparently, it is the Astros, Tigers, Blue Jays, Red Sox. Not because he doesn't want to be here, but because of the money. Bet the house Bregman doesn't go to the Blue Jays. Unless the Blue Jays offer him 10 years, I'd be shocked if he ended with the Blue Jays. Think we see a minor league pitcher this season? Yeah, I think we'll see a combination of Priester, Fitz, Dobbins at some point. Yeah. If I could redesign my room with unlimited funds, what would I change? Well, I would one, I'd probably go, there's a wall over here that you could see it, right? I would probably use this wall as the backing. I don't love the door being in here. It's just how it worked out with the plugs, basically. I would make it a little more uniform, right? Everything's just sort of thrown in there right now. I'd make it a little more uniform, try and hide cords. I would make it more moody lighting too. Solid gold walls. Why do I think the Red Sox had so many injuries? Unlimited funds, I'd buy a house. That's a great point. That is a great point. I'd actually put a couch in here too. I think streaming from a couch would be a lot more fun. To be honest with you, Kevin, why do they have so many injuries? A lot of them are freak, right? A lot of them you just like, you could have the greatest trainers in the world. Who do you get? Right? Who doesn't get injured this year that got injured last year? Or who doesn't get injured last year that got injured? Story still gets injured, right? You could make that guy the most flexible human being on planet Earth. He's probably still cracking that shoulder. Casas, you could sit there and you could have him do core exercises for 30 years. He's probably still cracking that rib cartilage. And those are your two biggest ones. I'm trying to think. Devers, right? Devers' shoulder. Can you prevent that? I don't think so. Massa is a great example of that too, right? You could have him sit there and do this for 3 months. One bad swing, there goes the bone. Yeah, T.O. colliding in the outfield, you can't fix that with better facilities. You know what I mean? I just think a lot of it was freak. Kenneth, I've been thinking about it. I don't know how many people would want to come on, though. Priester can be molded into at least number 2. I wouldn't say number 2. I would say 3. Yeah, Tristan was just swing a bat. That's what I mean. Yeah, Abreu still slips on this. Like, all the injuries that happened this year, I don't think were really preventable. Lucas Giolito's arm going out, that happens in baseball like 60 times a season now. It's ridiculous, right? Again, if someone had the secret sauce to prevent Tommy John or prevent people having to do that, a team would have figured it out, and then everyone would have figured it out. So I don't think there was much more you could do. I think they just it was bad luck. Hey, Mike, that works too, man. This is kind of what the tan looks like a little bit. It's a little bit lighter. This is gross. If the Red Sox win the World Series or ALCS, can you go live? If the Red Sox make the playoffs, I'm streaming every game. We'll go live for every single game. It could, George. It could, but also Story broke his shoulder. No, Kevin, this is what I'm saying, right? You could sit there and Story could go like this and do movement conditioning for 48 hours straight. Nick, thank you so much for becoming a member, man. I really appreciate you. We get some claps in chat for Nick. All right, Bobby. Hey, have a good one. Hey, I'll be here tomorrow. Actually, by the way, guys, before people start taking off, no video Saturday. We're not going to do a video Saturday. My girlfriend surprised me with a trip to Portland for my birthday. So I'm just going to take it off. It's a dark, dreary time of the year. Where was I? Oh, conditioning, right? Conditioning. You could sit there and you could say, well, they just didn't condition enough. My problem with that, thank you, Dallas, is that you could sit there and you could say that, but again, you could make Story the most flexible human being on earth. He's probably still breaking that shoulder. Again, you could have Tristan Casas' core be strong enough to break metal pipes. He's probably still tearing that rib cartilage. You could give Wilyer Abreu enough ankle exercises to be able to bend your foot back and touch your calf, and he's still probably twisting his ankle on the steps. You could give Lucas Giolito a rubber arm. He's still probably tearing that UCL or ACL or UCL? I don't know, whatever it is in the elbow. It's just how pitchers play these days. Right? It's just not truly, like, a lot of these were truly unavoidable. Thanks, Wraith. Hey, Mark, enjoy it, man. I haven't had sushi in a minute. I want to have it. UCL? Thanks. Can we give Story some inflatable uniform? You know how funny it would be if he dove and just like, like, imagine. I was just saying, though, those were freak injuries. Yeah, but that's what I mean, right? You asked does conditioning play a part, I think, right? Your question was, do you think conditioning was a factor? My answer is no, right? My answer is no. I think these were just freak injuries. It would be so funny if, like, he looked normal and then he dove and then it just and he got up. He was in like one of those bubble suits. Oh, it'd be so funny. Yeah, these guys do conditioning 24/7, 365. Like, no one on the Red Sox is out of shape. I always hate that. We've seen out of shape on the Red Sox before. None of these guys are out of shape. Good strategy, something big would probably happen over the weekend. Take time off anyway. Yeah, you know what? That is probably true. It's just, so there'll be a video Friday. There just won't be a video Saturday. And then I'll be back Sunday. So if something big happens, it's really just Saturday. which means Bregman's going to sign with the Red Sox miraculously on Saturday. Due to weightlifting? Maybe, but players are also, in general, right? Jim Rice is an exception to this. But in general, players are generally higher impact than they were in what was Jim? The 70s and 80s, right? So I think there's a little bit more to it than just simply these dudes lift too many weights. Because Jaron Rand's probably your most ripped player. Right? Jaron Rand was your most ripped player. He played your most amount of games this year. Could Sandlin be a closer? Yeah, if he could figure out how to miss bats with his fastball, for sure. I appreciate that, Lee. Thank you. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'm not quitting. Yeah, Dennis. If Sandoval is able to come back in the second half, it could really be. He could really be a big impact for the Red Sox to go down the. No, I actually didn't feel the earthquake. T.O. didn't, yeah, not exactly the best one, Jack. He got injured quite a few times. Over under on Whitlock appearances. I think Whitlock has a full season. I do. I think what I don't know. I don't know. Because I think he still gets injured those last couple of years if he's in the bullpen. I don't know. Would I be okay with a Grichuk signing? Now, honestly, Nick, I'll be honest with you. Would I hate it? No, right? He was good last year. Like, he was solid. He was a solid player. My problem is it worth it at that point? Is it worth spending? Is that just a spend to spend? Like, a lot of people say Bregman spend to spend. I look at Grichuk, man. Like, at least Bregman would be in the everyday lineup. Grichuk would just end up being a bench bat. Wouldn't he split time? Like, I don't think he'd be an everyday player. He was really good last year. Don't get me wrong, right? 291 average, 348 on base percentage, 528 slug, a 140 OPS plus. He was really good. And he was even better against lefties, I believe. If that's correct in my mind, it is. In reality, yeah. He had 319 with a 386 on base percentage. He had the exact same slug, which is kind of interesting, and a 914 OPS. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it, but like, is Grichuk the guy? What up, DP? Is Grichuk the guy? Is Grichuk the guy that you put on this roster over Roman Anthony? Right? That's the question. Because Grichuk plays the outfield, right? Yeah, he's an outfielder. How was he defensively last year? Probably not very good, right? Strength and conditioning coach. I'm good with that. Yeah, he's not a great outfielder. I mean, he was a really, really solid bat, dude. He was really good last year, but would I get Polanco on a minor league deal to compete in spring training? Maybe. I don't know if he'd take a minor league deal, though. Hey, Fenway fanatic. That really, truly, truly means a lot to me. Thank you. I wouldn't be opposed to Jorge Polanco, but again, if you're gonna have a guy, because Polanco would most likely split time, right? That's sort of be who he was. I don't think at this point Polanco's an everyday player. He had a rough last year, but that's because he played in the worst hitting ballpark in America in Seattle. So let's go back to 2023. Let's do his last fullish season in 2022. Obviously, kind of cherry picking here, but I just want to see like a full season in a solid ballpark. How does he hit against lefties? He was terrible against lefties. So the question is, where do you put him? Right? I don't know. Would I go to the Sea Dogs Fan Fest? Probably not. When it comes to defense, is he good enough to play left at Fenway Park? That's what I care about. All our other outfielders are Gold Glove caliber. Yeah, I think you could put Grichuk. You could put in left field. Not really worry about it. The question is, where do you put him? Right? Why would you put him in the outfield? I don't know. I don't know. Grichuk's an interesting one for me. And do you just simply trust Ref Snyder with that job, anyways? Right? That's impressive, Nick. The fact that you figured out that is a Tristan Casas short print is impressive. I haven't gotten a nice baseball card in a little bit. Problem is, use his first name, Grichuk. Why? You trust Grichuk way more than Ref Snyder? Really? Let me test something here. I wish there was a way to compare baseball. Well, I'd have to get StatHead, right? To compare splits in 2024. Yeah, I don't think you can. Let me see something, because this would be Grichuk would just be your left-handed specialist, right? That's what his job would be. Go back to Grichuk splits. All right, so Grichuk last year hit 319 off of lefties. Rob Refsnyder hit 302. Okay. Grichuk had a 386 on base percentage against lefties. Refsnyder had 393, so a bit better there. Grichuk had a 528 slug against lefties. Refsnyder a 548 slug against lefties. Overall, it was a Grichuk 914 OPS versus Refsnyder's 941 OPS. A 156 OPS plus for Grichuk, a 163 OPS plus for Refsnyder. Refsnyder also Refsnyder struck out more. They walked the exact same amount though, which is interesting. And Refsnyder had more home runs. Is there a possibility Giolito could be a closer? No. Do I think Costas could hit 40 home runs? Yeah. Do I expect him to this year? No. I would say a good year from Costas, like 30 bombs would be sick. Yeah, I saw that, Celtics. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it at all. Oh, that's sweet, Kenneth. Whitlock, in theory, could absolutely do that. I think their idea for Whitlock is to be everything, which I don't hate at all, because I think he could do everything. Bob Costas. Yeah, Grichuk I think would be really good at Fenway. Don't get me wrong. But again, I think the question becomes is it worth triple the WARs Refsnyder with similar plate appearances? Is it similar enough plate appearances though? Let me see. 93 games versus 106. Yeah, you could say that. I wonder what the reasoning for that is, though. I guess Ref had it overall. Ref overall was worse against righties. I think that's what killed him. I thought Ref was good defensively, though. I don't know. What were their offensive wars? That's probably a better indicator. 1.2. 1.9. So it was 0.7 WAR better offensively. Hey, thanks a lot for watching, Sean. I appreciate you. What do I think about Pedroia not making the Hall yet? I'm not surprised. I'm looking forward to seeing how the new catching depth improves the team. Yeah, I am actually. I'm very intrigued by Carlos Narvaez. I think he's going to be. What's going to be interesting, the Red Sox are going to have a lot of young players on this team. Moose, thanks. You're one of the few, but I appreciate it. We have like 8 outfielders. You know where I think Grichuk really makes a lot of sense is if you trade Massa. If you trade Massa and you put Grichuk into that DH spot, I really, really think you look a whole lot better. Does that make sense? Where do I go for the analytics? I'm kind of all over the place, Alex. For sort of baseline stuff, I look at Baseball Reference or Fangraphs, either one of the two. It just kind of depends on what I'm feeling, to be honest with you. For more advanced stuff, I always go to Baseball Savant. I think they have great stuff. Outside of that, there are some people who break down some stuff analytically on Twitter who I really like. Chris Clegg is a really great example of that. I think those are the three main ones, which is sort of everyone's three main, right? No, I don't think any of us would complain. Although watching Roman Anthony kill it in San Diego would suck, Nick. How would we feel if we attached a Bray to trade Yoshida? I wouldn't hate it, especially if they're fully confident that Roman Anthony's ready to go. What are the perks for standing room on the channel? A lot of the perks are especially standing room, are big during the regular season. There's a lot of custom Red Sox emotes that you can use during games or on videos. During the offseason, you get access to a members-only live stream once a month, although at this point it'd be February, March, and then April we'll probably do the opening day one. We'll also be open to all members. There's a members-only community page that if there's any bigger videos, like any unique videos, those always get put first on the members-only page. So like the Winter Fenway Fest video, members saw that 4 or 5 hours before anyone else saw it. Interview with Mikey Romero, same thing, way earlier than everyone else saw it. So if there are bigger videos like that, especially during the season, because we're going to do a lot more interviews, because I'm hoping we get the Worcester one again. We'll probably put a lot more onto that. So that's sort of the biggest one. Baseball Reference projects Casas having 17 home runs and a 255 average. That seems undervalued. 255, maybe not. 17 home runs absolutely is. Absolutely is. How'd I feel? Oh, yeah. If we attach a Brady to Yoshida, again, I wouldn't hate it. If the Red Sox are confident in Roman Anthony, I think you got to move Willier. And I like Willier a lot, but I don't think it makes a ton of sense to move, say, Don. It certainly doesn't make sense to move Duran. So where do you put, you know what I mean? Man, Buddy is the whole team. That's crazy. Ref Snyder is a lot cheaper than Grichuk with comparable stats. Yeah, so that's kind of what I was getting at a little bit. Was you already kind of have it on the team? Is it worth the, would it be $20 million a year? Attaching Willier to, yeah, making that DH spot rotational instead of solidified absolutely opens the door for that. You missed Kyle Teal. I gotta be honest, man. I haven't thought about Kyle. I'll tell you this. I've thought a lot more about Garrett Crochet in a Red Sox uniform than Kyle Teal in a Red Sox uniform recently. So, Kyle Teal is probably going to be a really good player at the major league level. I don't think I miss him. How much per year for Grichuk? Let's see what he's projected right now. Was he even in the top 50? Yeah, he wasn't even in the top 50 for these guys. I wonder what Spotrac has him at. Corbin, you literally have it in front of you. Spell it correctly. There we go. Market value. They're saying he's only worth $3.3 million. If that's what it takes to get him here, I'd be shocked. I would guess probably. How old is he? He's 33. I would guess like a 2-year deal, $7 million a year. That's what I would guess. Hey, look at that, Joe. We're on the same page. I don't know. I just think like it's going to look kind of malpractice is the wrong word, but on top of not spending, if the Red Sox can't find a way to make room for Anthony and Campbell after essentially putting all their faith into the two of them because they can't trade a Willier or Yoshida. I don't think that looks good either. You think Tristan will have an AB? I hope he has an AB at some point this year. Made it home for the end of the live stream. It made work go by fast just listening. Oh, I'm glad. What's the issue then? Not signing a right-handed hitter or signing one? My issue with Grichuk is again, you didn't move Massa. You didn't move Willier, right? So in order to put Grichuk on the roster, you're going to have to block Anthony. Yeah, you have to. Mostly play DH or pinch hit. But that's fine. But even then, right, you're gonna pay Massa $19 million a year to be a platoon bat. I guess you did that last year too. Wanka. Only have 4 bench spots. Would it be worth? Here's the question for you, Joe. Would it be worth having 2 right-handed or 2 left-handed pitching hitting specialists, outfielders? But we just said for the specific purpose that Randall would be used for, he wasn't better than Ref Snyder last year. Right, for the specific purpose. Now, overall, yes, but we're talking about using him in a very specific way. It's not the overall player. It's how he'd fit into the very specific role he'd be asked to play. The question is, if you do have 2 veteran right-handed hitting, only used against left-handed pitching outfielders, a catcher, and Romy Gonzalez, is that enough to be comfortable with? I don't know, right? That's my point. Yeah, all right, Perpetual. Good luck. Good luck. Hey, thanks for staying in here a little bit. I appreciate you. He was very bad his entire career until 2 years ago. I think being like, well, this guy sucked until he was good, he's gonna suck again is kind of tough. Like you could make that same argument about Jarren Duran, couldn't you? And on top of that, you could say I'm more nervous about Grichuk because outside of last year, in 23 he was barely league average. In 22 he was below league average, and in 21 he was well below league average. So you can make that same argument about anyone, kind of, can't you? Okay, so then what's the comeback for Grichuk? Kind of the same age range, right? He was not good in Toronto in 21. He was not good in Colorado in 22, which is tough, being a right-handed hitter. He was mediocre between Colorado and LA in 23, and he was really good for Arizona last year. So you could say the same thing, right? He sucked until he got to Arizona. We are competing for a division right off the bat, or I'm unhappy. Do I like Rap? I don't. Yeah. He's been a consistent, but you're saying, but you're kind of moving the goalposts here now, right? Because you're saying the guy sucked or Ref Snyder sucked. You go into this a consistent starter, not really. right? He has a 104 ERA OPS plus over his career. So yeah, he's been league average throughout his career. But you look at it, I'm not going to consider his rookie season. His second year was great. His third year, mediocre. His fourth year, well below. His fifth year, solid. Sixth year, well below. Seventh year, solid. Next 2 years, well below. Well below. The year after that, league average, and this year he pops off. So no, he hasn't been consistent. It accumulates to a consistent bat because of the fact that he has these highs, but he's also been up and down his entire career as a starter in Major League Baseball. Corby, there's a possibility we could trade Yoshida mid-season, I think there is a possibility you could get a team to bite on him if a team gets desperate enough. Or Massa just has a really great year, right? I think a lot of people aren't considering that possibility that he's just great. We're in trouble. Yeah, I don't think to be honest with you, even if you sign Grichuk, you're probably not relying on Grichuk to be the make or break for this team. I think all those boats have officially sailed unless you're willing to pony up for Bregman, which I don't think you do. How is that not him consistently starting on a team? Yeah, but my point is, Joe, he hasn't been a consistent starter. He has played a lot of games, yes, but again, you said a consistent starter. So unless you meant he was just simply on the field, which, okay, right? But I think if we're looking at the Red Sox need to bring in a bat, it's not the Red Sox need to bring in a bat just to have a body, right? You've got bodies. In my opinion, I was looking at consistency in terms of the production he's had when he's been on the field. That's more than you can say about Refsnyder. Yeah, but again, Joe, you're not bringing in Grichuk to just simply be a body that can be there and can give you around league average numbers. That's not what you need, because at that point you could bring up Christian Campbell. Right, you could bring up Christian Campbell, and he could probably give you league average numbers and be a consistent body in there. But what you need is a right-handed, lefty pitching hitting specialist. God, that's a mouthful. A body that demolished. But again, Joe, he demolished lefties. Rob Refsnyder did it better. Would I consider Red Sea Radio a second job, or I consider it a hobby? It's always a hobby until it is my job. I think that's the way I got to look at it. So I've always considered it that. Big 3 opening day lineup. They exceeded expectations. How many wins? I would be shocked if Marcelo was on here opening day. Would it be crazy if Marcelo Meyer to be on the opening day roster? Yeah, I think something really bad would have to happen. Not the players that'll help him, but again, Joe, this wouldn't be a guy who would be in here every day. That's my point. And I've been sitting here saying the lineup looks solid on paper. There's just a lot of question marks. I don't know that Grichuk comes in here and he improves the question marks. Like, again, I would be happy if you got Grichuk. I get nervous about what the fit looks like. That's my entire point. Still, if he wasn't exceeded, I don't know what your expectations are. So I guess if they exceed expectations with all 3 of these guys, 94 wins. Who's our right-handed 3-hole right now? Story? Yeah, I think it has to be, right? Who else are you putting in there? Unless you do Refsnyder against lefties, which I think they very much will do throughout the year. I don't know. How is Grichuk done during the playoffs? Does he not have any playoff statistics? No, he's with Seattle back in 2014. He definitely had some. Hello. Could be really good if all goes well. Yeah. Under over 86.5 wins. I think that's right where I put him. Catcher, Kevin. Catcher. I don't think twice about that. I don't think anyone disagrees with that one. Of course it is, Jonathan. If I got to be able to talk Red Sox baseball every single day, I'd be the happiest person on earth. Hey, to the show we go. Hey, is that a new logo? Look at you guys. That is clean. That's clean. Let me see the full breakdown here of the new. Go to channel. Hey, I like this. I like this a lot. That was good, man. That was a good job with that. Still streaming, brother. Still streaming. Probably hopping off kind of soon here. New format. Ooh, we got a new format. What are we talking about? To the show we go. Whole podcast dedicated to interviewing minor league players. If you guys want to learn more about just sort of national baseball prospects, that's the place to go. I think Pedroia will show up at spring training, help Christian out. Yeah, he'll probably be there, I would guess. What's my as of right now, what's my World Series Game 1 lineup? Duran. Devers was so much better out of the 4-hole last year. I kind of want to put him in there, but I don't know. I guess he would Casas at second. Devers is your best hitter. You want him to get the most at-bats. I guess you'd put him second. I think I'd go Duran, Devers. Right now, strictly right now. Story, Casas. 4, 5, I guess you'd put. Do I put Willier? Do I put Grissom? Campbell? I think I do Willier 5, Grissom 6. Who am I missing? Oh, Massa 7. Massa. Maybe I put Massa 5. All right, yeah, maybe I'll do Massa 5, Grissom 6, Abreu 7. Cedon 8, Wong 9. Duran, Campbell, Devers story, Casas story. Oh, you were assuming Collis by then? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that I think Joe's got it right. If we're including call-ups and these guys have had what's my SOH handle? What do you mean SOH handle? Like my socials? Everything's Red Sea Radio. Is Cedon a starter on the big three called up? If they don't trade Abreu, I don't think so. If they do trade Abreu, then yeah. Man, I don't know. Oh, God. What is this? No, I'm not on this website. I don't even know what this is. I've never even heard of this. Looks interesting, though. Do I want to trade away Abreu? Hey, I appreciate that, Randall. Thanks, man. Yeah, maybe I'll hop onto it. It's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, I could see that. What is Sons of Sam Horn? Who's Sam Horn? Am I missing something? I'm probably an idiot. Ugh. It just keeps bringing me the Reds to the. Oh my God! Let me Google Sam Horn. There we go. Oh yeah, this looks like it was before my time. Well before my time, yeah. Just a young lad, yeah. Yeah, I might be too young to know what that is. I'll check out Slash though. Thanks for the yeah, teach me how to use it, Andrew, because I'll have no idea what to do. I'll have no idea. A 6-7 quick flash and then nothing. That happens. All right, chat. I unfortunately got to move some furniture, which means we're going to have to end it here. We did a pretty good live stream tonight. You're one of the 2 people under 20. Oh, boy. Sounds like I'm gonna have some issues over there, I think. Either way, guys, I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate it. To those of you, Versatility, you were incredible. CH, thank you for your very generous donations. Everyone who donated, I really appreciate you guys. For those of you guys sticking around, man, we are quite literally in the void of Red Sox baseball. There's just nothing, and you guys are still here talking about it with me, so really means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Tomorrow we're going to be talking a little bit about Pavetta, I think. We could also look into that Camilo Duvall trade. We'll find something to talk about. We always do. Again, reminder, no video Saturday. I know there's normally one. There's no video Saturday. Might be a video Sunday if something comes up. I don't think it will, but if something does, I'll make one then. But which means after Friday, I'll see you guys Monday. I don't know. I'm just talking to talk right now. Okay, guys, thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Make sure you guys have subbed if you think these are fun. We do these once a week. Make sure you guys have hit the like button if you enjoyed these. It helps the video get to more people. It also helps me figure out which ones you guys like the best. Outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, all the new members, thank you as well. I forgot to say that too. Appreciate you all, and I will see you all in the rest.